Hi, and thanks for watching this episode of Academy Unscripted. I'm Katie Marquardt, the Manager of Membership and Appeals at the Academy of Natural Sciences, and today I'm having an unscripted conversation with Danielle Odom, a macroinvertebrate taxonomist in the Watershed Ecology section of the Academy's Patrick Center for Environmental Research. Danielle, before I started working here, I had never even heard of a macroinvertebrate. So can you tell us a little bit about what they are and why you study them?
Sure. Well, thanks for having me today. So macroinvertebrates are tiny little creatures that live in the bottoms of streams and other bodies of water. We study them because they're really good biomonitors. So they generally stay in the same area throughout most of their lives, and then we can collect them multiple times over the course of many years. And they tell us what the water quality is like. They each have their own tolerance to pollution. We'll collect them, identify them, and then we'll see what are all the different tolerance values here. Do we have a wide range, which says the water quality is good because we've got all types of things living in here? Is it so-so, or are we only finding things that are really tolerant to pollution, which isn't a good indication of stream health?
So this method of studying these biological indicators, your lab focuses specifically on the macroinvertebrates. Can you tell us a little bit about what the other labs do and kind of how this method came about, with Ruth Patrick and her kind of pioneering this way of looking at our ecosystems?
Yeah, so there are many different labs in the Patrick Center, which is named after Ruth Patrick, and she was a woman ahead of her time. And she specifically studied diatoms and algae and believed that biodiversity was key to a healthy ecosystem. So that's kind of our approach. We want to see a lot of diversity, and that means we're not just studying macroinvertebrates, we're not just studying the algae and the diatoms or the biogeochemistry or the fish, to look at everything to see the full picture of the ecosystem.
So during Members Week, we were able to see you and your colleague Tanya Dapke in the field collecting macroinvertebrates. Can you tell us a little bit about how COVID-19 and the resulting quarantines and new protocols and things like that have kind of affected the field work that you've done this year?
One of the big things that we had to do was preparation in the event that we were allowed to go out and sample. And we're kind of creating plans for how to do sampling safely. 2 of our projects were canceled. It involved a lot of travel. We're hoping we can get out there next year. As for the projects that did happen, everything was about contact tracing reduction. So we still got out, but just in a little bit more of a limited capacity than our typical season. Yeah.
And I'm just curious, I believe that during the limited travel and things like that, that our ecosystems have changed a little bit, even these few months that our lifestyles have changed. Have you noticed any changes when you have been able to get out into the field?
What I think of when I go out sampling is more about rainfall, because rainfall will affect our sampling. Every time it rains, it flushes our samples downstream. So we have to kind of wait for a reset. Generally, we try to sample in the summer months, but we kind of pushed all of our sampling back to the latest possible time in the fall. So we noticed that there wasn't as much of an occurrence of rain. So when we went out to collect our macroinvertebrate samples, we found a lot of algae in the river, which I 100% would say is because we're sampling in fall. There's generally a little bit less rain, but otherwise, I haven't really noticed too much. There was maybe a little bit less trash floating in the rivers because there's less people out and about. So that's the one upside, I guess.
Speaking of trash, talking about macroinvertebrates, and we're hoping to see this high biodiversity in our ecosystems. What can people like me, what can we do to make sure we're supporting biodiversity and just acting responsibly in that way?
I would say yes, be more mindful of your trash and recycling. Make sure it all goes to its proper receptacles. Before that, you're even reducing your need for creating as much trash and recycling. Reuse as much of the recycling as you can. Another big one that a lot of people may or may not be aware of is grass clipping. I know it's really nice to compost it and help add nutrients back to the grass, but if you collect the grass, it reduces it washing into streams and creating like a extra nutrient load. When we load extra stuff that it's not accounting for or prepared to handle, it can shift our communities and change the biodiversity. Another thing that I try to do, and anyone can do, is plant more native plants in parts of your yard that you notice are impacted by rainfall. And if you plant more native plants along that route, you're helping that water to absorb and stay in that area rather than flooding the local streams. And that will have so many benefits.
Great. These are great tips and things that I've never heard of, but would be really easy to implement. I have never been a bug fan, but you and Tanya did an event with us, and you guys said the cutest thing. You said your favorite macroinvertebrates are the ones that would make the best plushies. So I want to know, what are your top 2 or 3? If you could make plushies out of these macroinvertebrates, which ones would you choose?
I would say there's a type of caddisfly called Hydrocychidae. Oh God, I think it's my number 1. It's got a cute little face, and then it has all these gills on its abdomen. So it just kind of looks warm and fuzzy and cuddly. I think it's more mammalian looking than your typical insect, I guess.
Yeah.
So I would name that as number 1. My favorite is the water penny. They're just cute, flat little guys. I think they would make a really nice pillow because they have that natural kind of pillow, round pillow shape. And then when you flip them over to see their face, I don't know, they all look like they're smiling. Those 2 would be my top 2 plushy choices.
And it's funny that you say that, they almost look like they have fur. I think that's why I don't mind bumblebees or butterflies.
We call it the charismatic megafauna.
So are you ready for the lightning round?
Yes.
Okay. What is your favorite item in our collection?
I really enjoy the mineral vault.
I've never seen it, so I'm jealous. I would like to. And what is your least favorite item in our collection?
I don't have one. I love it all.
Right? If you were able to plan an event for the Academy, what would the focus be?
Oh my gosh, that's tricky.
Maybe we could sew plushies together.
Yeah. Make your own macroinvertebrate plushie. One event that I would like a focus on is bringing more of the Patrick Center more in the center. A Patrick Center themed door 19.
We'll pass that idea along. I think that's a good idea. What is your favorite diorama?
The stream anatomy, where it's
what eats what?
Yes, what eats what. Thank you. Algae, macros, fish, and then the water chemistry is just kind of happening around it, and it's all of the Patrick Center in one diorama.
Yeah, shout out to Jen Sanchi. She made that.
Yeah, no, I love that one.
What other department other than your own would you like to attempt?
Ideally, I would have a job where I could almost be an apprentice week by week for all the different departments and throughout the Academy and the Patrick Center.
Are there any departments that you would not want to work for? And I have a feeling after your answer to...
No. I would do it all.
If you could be any plant or animal for a day, what would you choose?
If I could be any plant, I would want to be a white oak. I would also love to be a red squirrel.
What is the most wondrous thing in the natural world to you?
The ability to see the wonders of nature through the eyes of children. I have a 2-year-old niece, and she loves being outside and getting to see through her perspective all these new first-time things for her. It's incredible. I love it.
All right. Well, thanks for chatting with me.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun. I love, getting to kind of talk with you one-on-one.